folks, welcome to game 6. Game 6 was against 1600. I went on to lose this match. Let's see what happened. If I'm not wrong, I don't have the full game and I'm playing white. I played d4, e5, c4, e6. The queen's candidate declined standard structure, and then it's a typical opening situation that we were in. I will actually show you the final position as well. It was a drawn endgame, if I'm not wrong. I want to confirm it. I exchanged everything off and I simply castled. So if you see the central tension, there is a master game up to game number 11. I want to go and check this up. White won this game. I of course lost this game. But yes, the ideal move here is queen e2 is what was played. I played rook e1, so no more games. So I think we can close this. It's an equalish position, central tension, no big blunders here. And yeah, here folks, I was thinking there is a threat here, and actually here I missed this beautiful move. There's a very beautiful move. Only move in the position is he does a counter punch, and then I should have exchanged this way and keep the queens on the board, but what I did is I did the opposite. I took, even in that case it looks fine. So let's quickly recap what has happened. We opened, queen's gambit declined, standard structure. Opened a knight, I opened my knight. He put his bishop on e7, preparing castling. I put my bishop on f4, and then opening up for preparing my side of castling. A typical idea is b3, b6, avoiding b6 is basically to avoid this pawn push, blocking this bishop for eternity. So whenever you have the bishop on e7, please remember that there's a b6 somewhere to block any further attack or any further blocking of this bishop. Typical idea in this structure. Exchange, and of course he just used I wasted a tempo by doing this, but that was the only move where that was a logical move. And I said, it says that you better to develop the queen. So it's a good learning from this is that you get a chance to develop the queen. I did not do that. I exchanged off the bishops and then castled. I delayed a move, but then I castled. Now here, my idea was to try to get some pins in the process. So set up some pins. So I played this. It didn't really impact the evaluation too much. Now here, it suggests the knight coming into the game. Seems logical, but I got the queen into the game. I thought getting queen into the game may be better. So I moved the queen in. And here he played queen b7. I played rook f2 d1. I said let's put our bishop rooks where I think there's going to be an open file. Of course, the best move appears to be the knight coming in. Knight development, I think I have to work on it. Putting the knight on nice squares. Like for example, both these squares are great squares. And I kept delaying, and I gave up the advantage that I have got. So there's no master games at this point of time. So I give the advantage that I've got by playing a nothing move, you can say, by doing this. He exchanged it off, then I moved the queen back, exchanged everything off. Now here I thought there's a back rank threat. So I was thinking, rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes mate, but I didn't realize. So okay folks, let's assume that the king was here. Example, let's make a nothing move for the opponent. Oh sorry, that's not a nothing, it's a good move. Let's say he makes a nothing move. Then what I was thinking is rook takes. Sorry, my idea was rook takes, and let's say if rook takes. No, I didn't have anything. I thought there was something in the position with his back rank ideas, but there wasn't anything in the position. So anyways, he took, and then I thought this is a great move. It's a fork, and I'm winning the queen. Okay, that's what I thought when I played this move. I thought it's a nice little fork, but then I didn't realize that he also has a counter move blocking me away. So then I should have taken this, kept the queens on the board. I went for simplification, which also seems to be fine. Now here I think, here it seems still is okay. I'll show you the final position on the analysis board. And then I did a couple of mistakes, couple of inaccuracies, and then I ended up in a tough spot. Here you can see this pawn's hanging, and I'm given him a good amount of advantage. and you see that he is doing h5, the only move h4. You'll see that black suddenly has a bit of advantage because of a single pawn advantage that the black has currently. Sorry, he doesn't have, but he will have once he takes off this pawn. So at this point of time, as you can see, bishop took this knight, winning a pawn, and I win the other pawn in the process. He attacks this, but he wins this pawn because knight takes pawn. I should have played this, takes. I'm still okay. 4 versus 3 is still okay. But what I did was I protected the wrong pawn. I protected this pawn, which was not really essential. Now it is 4 versus 2. This is what I missed. But I'll show you the final position and I'll tell you what had happened. Because I remember the final position because I blundered in the final position under time pressure. But I somehow, after all of this, clearly you can see that, I have to give up that pawn in return of a central pawn. So what I did, this was the final pawn structure. And you can see that it's a dead drawn position. Right, I'll tell you what happened eventually. So this is what it was, and I know it's a drawn position because it's this pawn. I specifically took off this pawn so that it's easier for me to draw this. I did extremely well. Now let me just try and show you the analysis board on what exactly happened. I need a blank board. Board editor, yeah, this is the way. Can't I remove everything? Clear the board. Yes. The pawns finally ended up. White had pawns here. Black had pawns here. White king was here, and the black pawn, which was, I think it ended up here, and the black rook was, let's say, somewhere here. White rook was here, and the black king is here. And if I'm not wrong, it was white to play. Continue from here. Analysis board from here. White to play. Yes. This is a dead drawn position. My mistake, folks. Let's go back to the board. Let me play nothing more. The king was here. My mistake. The king was there. Here, what I did was this, and I lost the match. There was nothing I could do after this, and I was just completely lost. Right? So good news is, folks, against a 1600, let's go back to our study and my private studies and this tournament and the match. Sorry, learn, study, my private studies, and this one, the 30th May one. As we know that we reached this position and drawn position, and I lost, and this was against a 1600. So this was end of day 1, the last 6th match of the day. 6 matches on day 1, 2 and 3 matches on day 2. So day 1 last match did not go well. Lost a drawn position because of lack of patience, lack of time. So time pressure hurting me. Lost this drawn position because of just blundering a piece. Learning from this game, a couple of learnings. In terms of the opening, I think I did pretty okay. In terms of middle game, I think I did okay. Intermezzo, I think I did fine. I messed up in the end game calculation here. Right at this point in time is where I messed up, giving him a winning opportunity. The thing I need to evaluate is, it is a 3-2 versus 1-4 situation. It's a draw, provided my points are intact. So if I do this, he still gets the pawn. But this is a 3 versus 4 which is drawn endgame. So we need to understand this, folks. 3 versus 4 drawn endgame. We'll practice this some other time. But it's a clear-cut case of a drawn endgame not being converted by me. Alright, folks, let's go to the next match. Round 7 match against a 1550. So 1550 FIDE is a pretty decently rated player. And here, let's see what exactly happened. I don't think so I had the entire match with me, but I think more or less the entire match. So e4, and then he played c5, and then I'm just sorry, this is I'm black. So yeah, and he plays this move f4, which is fine. And again, as you can see, this d4 break is coming up, which I'm completely missing very regularly. I should play this d5 break, takes, and then just put the knight here, takes, and we are okay. Black is okay. I missed that. I played a6, and I'm just going for my standard Sicilian pawn structure. Knight exchanged, and I think this is pretty standard structure. This is structure I typically work with. My bishop angling the king, and now I remember this game. Here, what I had done is he did a blunder. This f4, whenever f4 is there, you'll understand it as we go along. So bishop, I developed the bishop. He developed the bishop. I said, okay, let's see now. What I realized is that he's planning to castle. At this point, I understood he's trying to castle. And if he castles, then I have this free knight. The engine says take the knight, queen takes, and then get a tempo, stopping castling. I said let me hope he does this mistake, and I played queen c7. It's a nothing move. It's not a nothing move. It's a developing the queen with the idea of developing bishop and knight next, and then continuing. Opponent has to cancel it off and then continue the game with his castling, which is perfectly okay. I get a tempo, he moves it away, and then get this knight. Knight here? No, not knight there. He says queen there. What about knight here? Knight here is also okay. So that was the idea. That's what I thought he will do. But what he did, he castled right away, allowing me a piece in the middle of the board. I just take this. Now, if you're wondering why can't queen just recapture, there's a pin, and you just lose this game on the spot. So look at this beautiful geometry, the exposed king, and this is how I lost a couple of matches in the previous tournament. Exposed king being utilized by the opponent to win a match, and that's the beauty of this knight capture. He realized it right away. He said, "Let me try to do this." This is again a mistake because I have the intermezzo, folks. All our intermezzo practices worked. I realized that I need not hurry to do this. I can first take this, give him a check. He has to capture, and then I capture this. Completely winning because he cannot take this. He can take it to the queen. Now if you're wondering why that is not working, boom, fork, exchange, check, king moves away with piece, material down, winning one more pawn, material down position. This is completely winning. There's no stopping me after this. So once this happened, then I realized that the intermezzo worked, and I got another piece. Now we have two pieces up. Of course, after this it's all about conversion, so I have to. Now this is being a little greedy. I said I'm going to block this out. Now the idea is he's saying that you do this hoping for some ideas there. I said no, I'm going to block everything off. He could have played this, but he played bishop a6. He's trying to keep an eye on this. I said no. Now this is a blunder again, folks. Take a second, and I know you saw that, but I thought this is the right move. Of course, engine says development is critical, but here I'm still going greedy. I'm being massively greedy. I said I have a skewer. I looked at this diagonal. I had the skewer. He says you should take it. Why? Why can't I simply take this back? I have this check. Still you're losing, right? This is material losing. He plays c4 directly. I said what changes? Nothing changes. He said he'll pin me. Again, folks, the intermezzo. Check, king moves away, and then I take it. And then this goes. So if you look at it, my intermezzo theme that I've been practicing for 1 week worked extremely well in the tournament. Let's recap. What are the intermezzos? Check. He took this intermezzo number 1. First I capture the bishop, give a check, and then capture this. I'm now complete material up. f4, bishop into, again, this is straightforward, no intermezzo. Here I get my second intermezzo, then winning a piece. Now you see 2 times I was able to use the intermezzo principle which we have been practicing. All of us together were practicing in my long format daily logs, which is being used here. Now here I thought I'll exchange. Now again, folks, this is again I thought I can move this. I cannot move this directly, protecting this, opening up, and all of that. I said I'm going to play this move, asking him to capture or exchange. He doesn't exchange, and then I play this. Again, a sort of intermezzo. He plays rook here. Now of course engine says do something else. I said no, I want to exchange and I want to force your exchange. I played knight here. It's a discovered attack. If you take knight takes, I can just take it back. Yeah, I can take it back, or in fact I can take this as well. So the right move he played, and I got this exchange. So I got knight to bishop exchange. He plays rook h3. Now my idea is very clear, folks. I need exchange. Think about it. My idea is clear now. I'm in the end game technically with a rook up, rook and a bishop up. So I'm massive material up. I need to simply exchange. So my idea was simple. Put put the bishop here, queen here, and I am exchanging further. I played bishop here. He realized that apparently we had a better move, which is defending with the queen, but I was like going for exchanges. He plays this and queen d6, queen g4, attacking this. My idea is now very clear. Once this happened, I realized that his idea is to put this rook and the bishop here and check a mating on this square. I said I am simply going to put my f6 and bishop here, and you do anything, I put the bishop here, and this is a dead drawn position. Sorry, dead fortress. This is a fortress, not a drawn. It's a fortress with me making material up, and I'm building a fortress on this side. He plays h4. I said, be my guest. I'm going to just put it here. I'm going to go defensive in this position, and I'm not going to allow you to get any counterplay. And he plays rook g3. No worries, there is no mate here. I capture the pawn. I'm one more pawn up. He plays king h2. Let's see, this is the trap. Whenever you see a low rated player, the opponent gives you traps. This is a trap because if I try to pin it, mate in 1. He did trap number 1. I said, okay, no issues. Let me offer you an exchange. What would you do? King h3. Why was the king h3 the move? He could have done anything else. If he does anything else, then I have this pin and I'll win. Right? So, and again pin. And then this is like dead lost. Mate in 8. So then he says, I said, okay, thank you for the exchange, and I'm going to continue queening. And I said, I'm simply going to push for queening. So if you can see clearly what I'm doing here, I'm trying to queen this, but I don't have anything in the back. So I said, let's continue. But interestingly, he gave me an opportunity to queen on this flank. He realized that there's nothing he can do. He started sacrificing. His idea is going for a stalemate. Now, this is a brilliant stalemate that he found on the board, folks. So his idea was, I get greedy and stalemate. This is a stalemate position, right? And we said, okay, great. So I realized it. I said, I'm going to just delay queening by one move. He plays g4. I play d2. He pushes the pawn, and I queen and checkmate him, folks. Beautiful mate. Stalemate. I would want to highlight the stalemate idea that my opponent had got at this point of time was brilliant. Practically brilliant opponent planning a stalemate in the middle of the board in a completely lost position. I would want to give credit to my opponent for trying this, but I realized it. This was going to happen, so I played I wasted this move. This is not very useful. Just played a move, random move this is, because if he does this, then I do this. Then he has to do something where I can mate, and it worked out well for me. What are learnings? One, puzzle practice on a particular theme where you're weak on works in tournaments. Second one, keep an eye on stalemate. 2 intermezzos, 2 wins. Beautiful game, folks. Wonderful. Game number 8 against a 1590, a fairly strong player. He finished with a good amount of 5.5 points in the tournament. As you can see, he's a pretty strong player versus whom I played, and I'm playing this time white. The only white win in the tournament. I played 4 white games and I won just this one of them. 1.5 points on 4 in white. So yeah, not an ideal tournament with white, and that's the only points I lost. The only points I lost were with white. But yes, this is the only one win that I got with white, and I played my standard structure. Queen's Gambit declined, and this is very common. I think this we've seen it already one time in this tournament. And I said, he can do that. He didn't. He could have done the gaining the tempo. He didn't do it, and now I said, this seems okay to me. Of course, I'll have to give up this bishop at some point of time in some variation and somewhere it will happen. But I said no issues. Knight d7, I said you can take it because I'm going to take this and we are fine with this opening. I said because this bishop does not have any chance. Like if he typically does this, the typical idea, let's say I do something else, let's say I play this, he does this, I go back, he takes, I take, and this is the typical spoiled pawn structure that they go for. I see a lot of opponents going for this. I played h3, I said okay, let's just allow him to take it. He took it and then he goes back. So I was okay with this situation. Oh, he says pawn takes. engine says pawn takes. I'm not play. I don't want to spoil the point structure. Engine can play anything. I'll have to play how humans play. I played this move f4 with the idea of trying to attack the king, rerouting the rook. Apparently a mistake. So what he did, he played c5, the absolute best move in the position, and I wasn't sure what to do. So I said I'm going to capture c into knight into bishop into, and then I'm going to try for this exchange. He plays f6. I had this fork which I completely missed, and I played this sequence which was not so great for me. Minus 0.3 from being plus 0.1, because I get this situation. Why not just move the queen away? I take, then take. Okay, so I do get a pawn or something in the process, so I think I did not calculate this well, clearly. So I went for a simpler situation where I put my pieces in a slightly defensive structure. This is still there, but my original idea was not happening. So I said okay. Now I said weakness, attack the weakness, and play this. He defended it. Asking for an exchange, I said I do not want to exchange, but I'm going to try to put my queen on a better square, attacking the king. So I played queen b3. He moved the king away, logical. And then this is where I think I did a couple of mistakes. So I think I'm not sure which rook goes where. Right, my idea was to put this rook here. Okay, so I think what I did, I put rook a to d1, which is clearly a mistake. There's no way this rook has any life on this file. So clearly a blunder, not a blunder, I would say inaccuracy. A better way to put this rook here and to put the next rook here, right? That would have been so much better. Queen c8, he went for a queen c8 idea, and then I played queen a4, again threatening this pawn. He played queen b7, and then I played queen b3, pinning this, saying I can try and take this, queen c6. Then I played rook c1. So if you see here, I lost a tempo. I could have directly played rook c1. But yes, we cannot say that's exactly how it works. That's the way it is at times. We don't get it right. And then here I went for the idea that I want to exchange of material okay, let's see what actually happened. So I thought I'll exchange of material, which is not a good idea, as you can see. Evaluation bar changes, and then I played 94. 94 is, I think, what I was thinking is, this is sorry, now I remember, this is pinned. You cannot take it out, so you have to move the queen, and I'll have some time to add some reinforcements to this pawn. So he played queen e4, and here I did a blunder, folks. I did a massive blunder here in the middle game by taking queen into this. It's a big blunder because you can simply take this, and I do not have a great way to recapture. So if I take this, then rook takes, and then he's completely winning, complete piece up. Right, so this is what he missed. I missed middle game blunder, and he took my queen. And then I took knight into, bishop into e3 plus. I lost a pawn. Now my idea was, if you take, I take. So I thought of that, which is fine. And now I have to get out of this pin. If you're wondering why can't he take it, he cannot take this because of back rank weakness. He's simply getting mated. So back rank weakness, seeing the back rank, I said this is not a problem. It's an inaccuracy, but not very accurate. He played h5, removing the back rank weakness, and I played f5, protecting my piece. Now that it's as simple as it, and now there's no big threats on for either side. He plays a6, knight f4. I said allowing the exchange here, and rook e1 plus, king h2, rook d to d1. Now he's trying to create some activity here, rook c2, and then I just go out. Rook d3 plus, rook f4, then rook d5, f1. So here, actually, what happened? Let me tell you. You would play here, I would play here, you would play here, I would play here. There was a repetition, one repetition, two repetitions happened in this position, and I thought it's a drawn game. What is my idea? Let me explain you my thought process, why that would have been the right approach. So my point is, if I can get these rooks off the board, then my king can quickly come to the center of the board, while his king, even let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I reach faster. That's what I thought in this position, and said he'll accept for a draw. He did not go for it. He went here. Then I said, okay, now let me exchange this off, and he then further exchanged it off. And now my idea worked. Now what happened is he got into the center of the board, and this here I'm completely winning. Here I'm completely winning. Of course, I may not have the accurate conversion, and then he had to give it up because he did not have. Actually, I did play. I think the actual what I've written here is not the right one. I did play f4, stopping further play. He played this. I played this. Now he has to go. Then I go here, and actually he didn't go that way. He went this way, and actually what I have played, he went here. Then he is trying to come in here, but then it's too late. And I'm simply winning. This is what exactly happened in the game. So what did we learn from this, folks? The end game understanding of this queen being more active than this was important, and he did not understand that, and that's where he lost the match. Otherwise, it was a drawn end game. This is a drawn end game. He should just not exchange. I understood my king is active. He did not, and the game was lost. So king activity being critical, and both of us missing a tactic in the middle of the board. This was when I had 3-4 minutes on the clock, and I did this, and then he didn't see it. And after this, actually, I written the rest of the game on memory because I had not written it in the game as such. Alright, folks, learning middle game tactics, being very careful. I have been blundering some of it, and then active king mistake that the opponent did clinch the game for me, which is here. My king is too active, and he's just simply losing. Alright, folks, thanks for listening in to game 8. We'll now go to game 9. Alright, folks, let's look at what's game 9. Game 9 was with a 16-20, fairly strong player. I'll show you what has happened. Actually, I was not able to replicate the entire game. Some of this is out of memory, but the key thing is, yeah, we'll see that, folks. Key thing is I was able to trap the opponent's knight in the middle of the board. Knight, I think f5 or f4 got trapped, and that I think so was the most critical, beautiful move for the entire tournament for me, because I got a knight in the middle of the board, trapped between his own pieces. Let's look at what happened in the game. e4, c5, Sicilian, Khan. I'm going for the Khan sector. e6. Again, as we know, I'm missing this break. I think I'll have to learn the opening once more to understand when to break, when not to break. I have been struggling with this quite often. So folks, over the week, this week and next week, we will be doing that. So we get this structure. Now finally I did do the break. This is the first game in which I could have done it earlier, but finally I realized that I have not been doing the break, and I did break the center of the board, and then I am just opening up. So after the break, he played bishop to g2. I played bishop to e7, castle, knight to f6, preparing to castle myself, threatening the pawn. And I said, sorry folks, not really threatened, my queen is protected. I said, let me, and at this point of time I was really worried about this kind of ideas. As we know, I think in the earlier game also you saw that I play prophylactically. I typically play h6 to stop activity of this bishop and this knight, and it was fine. So he played e1 of the correct move. Castles, he plays d4. Now I wasn't sure if d4 was the right approach here, and I said, you take, I should be okay. So I just allowed the tension to stay. I developed a piece. Most very logical way to do things. He developed the piece. Now I don't have a choice. I have to take a decision about this pawn. I said, let me push it. Let me maintain the tension. Knight e5. Should I exchange or not? I said, no, let you take. I'm asking them to take it, and I'm going to develop my piece in the process. I played queen c7 with developing the queen, allowing this exchange. Not an accurate move because of this bishop could have come here. Now of course, this I felt was a little overextended pawns here. I said, no issues. What should I do here? I said, let me try to get this bishop. This bishop is not doing a great job, and I think with all these pawns here, it will not do a great job. I thought I'll exchange this to this. And good news for me was he allowed me to double these pawns. I said, now I think I'm in good shape. Then I thought, which is the hole in the opponent's position at this point of time? I'm going to take a second, Fox, think about it. What's the hole in the opponent's position? Multiple holes there, but the hole that I liked the most, the gap in the position is this specific square here. So I want to put my bishop or knight here. I said let me execute the plan. But before executing the plan, I did a mistake. No, this was fine. The idea was that rook comes here and pawn goes here, rook b1. I can play this. That was the idea with which I played this a6 in the first place. I said there's no hurry. I'll play this before whenever I want to move the queen, I play this and then do this. So I played bishop h5, he played h3, allowing my bishop to sit in the center of the board. Bishop d2. I said okay. Now the only difference along these three files for my opponent is this bishop. I'm going to take it off and put my knight in the center of the board. Now here what I did realize is a mistake, because he can take this, but then still I'm much better. If you see, I'm still a couple of pawns up worth of material. I said still he played g4. I didn't like this much. I said I'm going to enter with my queen. My idea was to enter with the queen along this square. I said queen e7, not the best move. Again, the best move here appears to be knight here. Why knight there? I'm not clear. Let's say he plays some other logical move. Kick, goes back. Right, okay. Kick. I can't do that. There's a mating sequence. So the point is, this is too strong a knight in the center of the board. So I thought I'll utilize it. I said I'll save the pawn with the idea of getting the queen to here. But queen to here stopped working because of rook comes here, blocking all the king's activity. So I said let's do something else. I wanted to now reroute my knight to a better square. So my idea was to put the knight here. Then bishop e1, king h7. Now let me tell you what happened here. Once I came to this position here, I realized that I have just removed the knight from here. Now this knight just does not have squares. He's not here, not here. This is controlled by my own pawn. This is not possible. This is controlled by my pawn. Everything is controlled other than this one square. And I was thinking I'll kick him, let him go back here, and then let me see some activity is what I thought. And I said let me, and what's the problem with this move is this fork, and I lose all my advantage. I said okay, how to stop the fork? I played king h7. Now here what he did, Blunder, was remove the only escape square. Now this is, I love this, the knight getting trapped on e5. The one of the I feel it's I really like this position, because the knight gets trapped just right in the middle of the board. Why? Look at the number of my pawns doing their job. This pawn blocking this square, this pawn blocking this square, this pawn blocking this square, this pawn blocking this square. Right? So this square is blocked by this pawn. This square is blocked by this pawn. This square is blocked by this pawn. And his own piece is blocking two of the squares. So now I said I'll play this, and I won this knight right away. And this was completely winning right at this point of time. Queen here, and then I just moved the knight back. I said I'm going to go defensive, even though I could have done maybe slightly better. And then I only have it till here, folks, but you can clearly see it's 4 point advantage. I'm a piece up against the opponent's bishop and pawn. I have got 2 knights, and this is completely winning. I did convert this, may not be clinically. I remember the final position. Finally what happened is this king and rook became active, but it's difficult to recreate the position. The knight sat here, queen sat here, rook, opponent queen. Okay, I'll just try to see if I can get the board editor, and I'll just try to clear off the board. So the final position was, let me flip the board. So the black pawn here, white queen here, black rook here, black king here, black queen here, and the white rook sat here. I had a knight sitting here in this position, and of course his king etc. were there. This is the position in which he resigned, because now he also had his pawn somewhere here, and his king was here. So the idea here is that he cannot, there's no way for him to protect the queen, and if he does take, queen takes, rook takes, I'm simply a piece up with a lot of pawns on this side. So you can imagine that now that I have shown you, I'll go back to my study and I can call it a day on this analysis piece on the last one. Right, so let me go to learn, study, and my private studies. Study, my private studies, and this is the tournament. I think I'm struggling to get this same sequence. Now you can imagine it once you see that here. This king finally landed up on d8, black king. White queen landed up here. And of this rook and this rook got exchanged. Actually, this rook and this rook got exchanged. This rook finally sat here with the king coming here, and of course queen was somewhere trying to do some activity, but it was completely winning. Thank you, folks. So this was the tournament performance. So overall, as you can see, it was a very good tournament performance for me, from my level to beating a lot of rated players. So I was a 1400 on FIDE. Now I have reached 1500 on FIDE. So it's a 100-point improvement in a span of a couple of weeks of continuous prep that I'm doing. I want to thank everybody here. Actually, I want to thank all of you in the sense that the YouTube is building consistency for me, and you're acting as my sounding board. Thank you all.